It's such a beautiful day to do some Fury mods.
Shut up!
Okay, forget I even did that. On today's video, we're going to be doing some Honda Fury mods, and if you read by the title, there's one thing that I just don't really care when it happens to me, and that is when I'm riding and I pull out my phone and realize, hey, I haven't charged this thing almost at all today. I really wish my Honda Fury had a USB, like the port that you can plug in your phone and charge it. And not just any old port, a fast charging port, so if you're on the go and you need a quick charge, you can get that. But now you might be thinking to yourself, oh, well, you can just get one of those connectors that go right to the battery and then has the inlet to the USB. But man, anybody can do that. It's not special. It just kind of hangs there and it just kind of looks like a booger hanging out of the side of your bike. Nobody likes that, especially on a bike like the Honda Fury. So we're gonna be making something completely custom. I'm gonna take you guys along with it so you guys can make one yourself. So let's get started. Alrighty, so after doing some Amazon shopping, I ended up finding this flush mount USB-A and USB-C charging port that you can hardwire right into a battery, and with the included screws, which I have off camera, you can mount it pretty much anywhere. This is kind of like for boats, RVs, motorcycles, you name it, wherever pretty much you can put it. So, I ended up having some spare terminals and some wire left over, so off camera I already spliced the two together, which I'm kind of might regret now that I think about it, because I just thought about something. Now if I want to wire this right into the battery, this is going to be a constant draw of power, and I don't necessarily want that. What I want is something that powers on when you flip the key. So I could do what I did with the shadow and the tachometer and wire it into the ignition or into the fuse box where the fuse goes, but then I realized it already has a inline fuse, which I don't think will be a problem, but I mean, I could run into some issues at a later time. Now, I'm gonna go and see what I can do as far as that, but this is already spliced together. I just might have to undo it, which is not necessarily a big problem. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, where are you gonna put this that actually looks clean, it looks good, it's accessible, and just it benefits everybody in any way possible? Well, funny you might ask. So what some people might not even know that they have on their Honda Fury is actually located inside of here. What you simply do is you press these little tabs in. Some are a little easier than others. So you take those three little clips out and you take this off, and you have yourself a little tiny toolkit. Not a lot of people know that. Now that I've had this Fury and met a couple people, well, not necessarily met, but online on the internet met them, they don't even know that they have this. So here's the thing, at least with me, this serves me zero purpose. There are these three bolts right here and one down here. I'm gonna take that off and show you guys a little bit of a cheat to this mod that we're gonna do. So let me grab a wrench and remove those. So, using a 3/16.
What?
A 3/16. Oh, hell yeah. God, I just ate be all full of something today. We're gonna take these out. So let's do that. So after you remove that cover, it's pretty hollow. It's just a thin little bit of plastic. And other than this hose right here, you have all in between here that's open, and back here that's open as well. With my specific USB mod that I'm doing, I'm not gonna need to go anywhere deep or near that hose or the coolant cover, so I don't have to worry about any of these hose or wire harnesses getting pinched or anything. I think this would be a great candidate for a near the handlebar, say you got a phone mount, USB port for your charger. So I'm gonna take this off and we're gonna measure up where we can put that flush mount charger. So let's take it back to the desk. All right, so now that we have the bare toolbox cover, this is a pretty good space. Now you gotta notice how it does go on a bevel. Now this portion is where I wanna install this flush mount. So luckily I've done my measurements correctly, and when this is said and done, it's going to be maybe just a hair bit of overhang, but I'm not exactly worried. Almost completely flush. It's not going to be able to, you know, since the cables are right there. What I'm gonna have to do is I'm actually going to have to drill a hole right here and run these wires through, and it should be exactly right where I need it to be. So let's get the drill out. It's getting there. Just might work, it just might work. So I drilled a much larger hole than I had started out with, and that actually was a really good idea because now it allows me to have free play to where I can now adjust it to where I need it, to where it's flush up at the front. And plus I have more wiggle room on the side, so when I install the screws, I can actually make it flush and look good. So let's continue on with that. All right, so you may notice that it looks a little bit different. I actually shaved off the sides, so now it doesn't look so bulgy and like right wham in your face, because this will actually bend down a little bit more now that there's not as much plastic holding it. So now when I screw it down, it'll be flush and look a lot more appealing. So let's go ahead and get this screwed in. All right, from the top up close, it looks kind of ugly, but I mean, it's screwed down, it's solid, it somehow is flush, and yeah, that's really all I was going for. That's why I shaved down the sides, because if I didn't, they would have stuck out and just raised up, and it just, yeah, it would not have looked good. Worst case scenario, I just get some, just a little filer or something and then smooth it on down. But I think this looks great. It's flush, the cables come through, the screws don't hit anything, even though they're short little tiny screws. So now comes the wiring aspect. So let's take it back over to the bike and get a test fit. Lined up. I think, yeah, that looks sweet. That looks sweet. So now if I open this, both ports are accessible. Maybe the USB-C port might be a little tight, but I kind of doubt that. But as long as this one is completely accessible, then I've got no worries. So, all right, now let's see what we got to do for the wiring aspect. So, right here we have ourselves a ground, and I took off, well, more than I needed to. I didn't really need to take off the seat, but I wanted to see my options. If I wanted to hardwire it right into the battery, that means I'd have to install a switch, which would mean more drilling and more modification, and I don't want to do that. However, if we go to the other side of the bike where the fuse box is, you will see that you have, where did the cover go with the diagrams on it? You know what, I don't need it. Who needs diagrams anyway? So you will have these fuses covered, and you have one that is named op. That is optional. So I'm gonna take one of the 10 amp fuses that I had in there, but I'm gonna take a 10 amp fuse, I'm gonna put the positive on the leg of the fuse and insert it into this fuse block, and I'm going to ground it on that bolt back there, and this should power it on whenever when the key is turned on the bike. So let's go ahead and get the wire set up and see if I'm right. All right, so that is soldered and heat shrunk on there. So now this is ready for the next steps. Let's get an end on the negative wire here. Okay, so both of the wires are extended. I probably got the negative one a lot more than I need it to be, so that's stripped. So let's get over to the bike and install it. All right, now we're just gonna throw this back on. All right, so now I can feed the positive wire through and into the fuse box, which I hope to God I have enough cable, because if I don't, man, that'd really blow. Okay, so I have two of the screws holding in the housing cover just to make sure that this slides fine. That is completely covered. So now I have the positive wire, which I'm gonna route on top of this cover, in between here, behind the grommet, in through here, and into the fuse box. So I've got it already cut down to length, spliced, and I'm glad I went with all black wire since it really blends in super well. So I'm gonna feed that in through here, which I might need both hands to do, unless I'm more skilled than I think I am. Now I can take it, gently pull it through, kind of tuck that in there, and now that wire is completely hidden. All right, so what I'm gonna end up doing with the wire is I'm actually going to run it in behind and then come up through that hole right there and then pinch it in between the leg and the actual terminal. I'm not gonna be able to do this with one hand, so this one I'm gonna unfortunately have to leave out of the video, but I'll just show you the end result and kind of re-explain it. So, all right, so the wire is now through and ready to be pinched into the fuse. So feed that back down. 10 amp fuse is installed, it's flush, and it looks like nothing's even there, even though I have the wire coming up from behind. You can't really see it because of the lighting. Yeah, you might be able to see it there. That black thin wire right there. So it's coming up, and let's go ahead and throw this back on. So now, the moment of truth. Let's see if our efforts have paid off. Okay, so I know it's dark, but I have it dark for a reason. There's a little blue light that comes around on here. So let's go ahead and turn the key and see. All right. Now, does it kill the battery? Let's shift her into neutral and see how she runs. All right, well, didn't take anything out of the ignition, so let's plug our phone in and see. I've got my phone on the other end of this charging cable, so let's see if this even fits. Wow, you couldn't get any better than that, even if I tried. Wow. All right, well, let's go ahead and see. All right, we're gonna flip the key and see if it works. 3, 2, 1. There it is. It's working. Awesome. Fast charging. Hell to the yeah. So let's go ahead and power it off. All right. Yep. And it disconnects. Awesome. That is exactly how I want it. So let's go ahead and reassemble this. All right. So now it is completely put back together. And from a distance, man, that looks stock. That looks good. That looks good. Push it up. And the cool thing is, it glows blue like the bike. All right. Okay, so I've got it until... Okay, so it's about 8 minutes until full, 95%. I'm gonna let it charge to 100% with the bike battery completely on. Now, if you're wondering what battery I'm using, this is the lithium anti-gravity battery. I've done a video on it. I'll just look up in the corner of the video and you'll see the install of what exact battery it is. And we'll see if maybe this holds or takes a lot of the charge. So when we go to start it, if it draws as much power or maybe more than we think it does. So I'll see you guys in 8 minutes. All right, 100% fully charged. I'm going to unplug it. And let's go ahead and start the bike. See if it switches over. No question. No question about it. All right, so that is my completely custom-made USB charging port for my 2020 Honda Fury. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to check out the Instagram at Esoteric Rider, where I upload pictures of this fine specimen of a motorcycle that is my 2020 Honda Fury, and subscribe to the channel where you'll find more content like this. I'm probably going, it's not a probably, it's a for sure. I'll be doing more custom modifications like this. Maybe if it inspired you, leave a like or don't. It's a free world, you do what you want. But if you enjoyed, I'm glad. Support your local veteran and be safe and ride free. Peace out.